Life. Life is sacred. Life is a journey that must be traveled no matter how bad the roads and accommodations. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them, that only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Live your life while you have it. Life is a splendid gift. There is nothing small in it. Far the greatest things grow by God's law out of the smallest, but to live your life you must discipline it. Every man's life is a fairy tale written by God's fingers. So many people walk this earth with purpose in their eyes, but in their heart of hearts they know what they're living is a lie. The alarm goes off at 6 a.m. like every other day, so they can walk into a job they hate because they need the pay. All time does is take from them, but it never seems to give. Always waiting for the day to come when they finally start to live. I'm all too scared that one day soon I'll become just like the rest, only walking with the crowd because my dreams have been oppressed. That one day I'll look back on life at the opportunities that I missed and realize I never truly lived. All I did was just exist. Life is a gamble. You can get hurt, but people die in plane crashes, lose their arms and legs in car accidents. People die every day. Same with fighters. Some die, some get hurt, some go on. You just don't let yourself believe it will happen to you. Victims. That's all these people will ever be seen as. They will never be seen as survivors because they will never survive their ailment. They become victimized by their terminal illnesses so much that it's all that people think of when they see them. It slowly becomes their identity. But what if it's possible to change that? What if you can look at them and see the person, not the illness? To see the illness-ridden person as the once healthy and full of life person they once were. That's where euthanasia enters the picture, ending someone's suffering before they become unrecognizable to themselves and their families.
You taught me the courage of stars before you left. How light carries on endlessly, even after death, with sureness of breath. You explain the infinite, how rare and beautiful it is to even exist. I couldn't help but ask you to say it all again. I tried to write it down, but I could never find the pen. I'd give anything to hear you say it one more time. That the universe was made just to be seen by my eye. And I couldn't help but ask you to say it all again. I tried to write it down, but I could never find the pen.
For advocates of both palliative care and euthanasia, the good death is one in which I make my own choices about my last days and months. In individualistic societies, the bad death is that of the person with no autonomy, who cannot communicate his or her wishes or whose brain has so deteriorated that there are no wishes left.
The shortness of breath, I'll explain the infinite, how rare and beautiful it truly is that we exist.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He holds the gun again. Traditionally, Christianity viewed life as a great gift. It is woven through their scriptures narrative, from Adam's first breath to sanctions against killing after the flood to the prohibition against murder within the 10 Commandments. I know, he knows that he's killing me for mercy, and here I go. Oh, 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 and here I go. Oh, 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 and he holds my body in his arms. He didn't mean to do no harm, and he holds me. On April 15th, 1975, 21-year-old Karen Ann Quinlan stopped breathing after she collapsed and slipped into a coma. She was seen taking prescription drugs with alcohol. Doctors were able to save her life, but she suffered immense brain damage, putting her in a persistent vegetative state, or PVS. Karen Ann was believed to be incapable of breathing without a ventilator and unable to eat without a feeding tube. After months with no progress, her parents saw no hope of recovery. Her father asked the doctors to unplug her ventilator, but the hospital refused, afraid of criminal charges. So the Quinlan family went to court seeking protection for the hospital. They won the case, receiving a court order protecting the doctors. The doctors removed Karen Ann's life support. However, Karen Ann didn't die. She started breathing on her own and continued to for 9 more years. Despite Karen Ann staying alive, she became one of the first symbols of a patient's right to die by refusing treatment in artificial machines in order to die with dignity. Terri Schiavo collapsed on February 25, 1990, which resulted in her having severe brain damage. Her husband, Michael Schiavo, stopped rehabilitation for her in 1992. He instructed the nurses caring for Terri not to treat his wife if she became ill. After the nursing home that Terri was in treated her for a life-threatening condition, Mr. Schiavo went to court in 1998. Terri's husband asked for a court order to remove Terri's feeding tube and end her life. Although Terri was diagnosed with PVS, many people questioned it, including Terri's family. The courts eventually ruled in Michael Schiavo's favor, saying Terri Schiavo would have wanted to die, but Terri's parents kept fighting to keep her alive. A total of 3 court orders were handed down to remove Terri's feeding tube, but despite Terri's family and their efforts, her feeding tube was removed on March 18, 2005, and she died 13 days later. Currently, there is no nationwide law for or against euthanasia in the U.S., but Oregon was the first state to legalize it with their Death with Dignity Act. It was established in 1997 and allows terminally ill Oregonians to end their lives through voluntary self-administration of lethal medications clearly prescribed by a physician for that purpose. Jack Kevorkian, or Dr. Death, from Michigan, spurred a national debate on the ethics of hospice care and euthanasia. He created a suicide device that delivered consecutive doses of liquids, with the final being lethal. He later became infamous in 1990 when he assisted an Alzheimer's patient end her life. Michigan tried to charge Jack, but the case was dismissed due to Michigan's indecisive stance on euthanasia. Although Michigan took steps to stop Kevorkian, he kept helping people die. In all, Kevorkian was prosecuted 4 times. He was finally convicted in 1999 after Michigan made euthanasia illegal. He was charged with second-degree murder and illegal delivery of a controlled substance. He was sentenced to 25 years, but only did 8 because he got out on good behavior. After he got out of prison, he traveled the world becoming a voice for assisted suicide until he died in 2011.
She's 29 years old, recently married, and was hoping to start a family. Now, Brittany Maynard is planning her death, choosing to end her life before cancer can destroy her.
I think until anyone has walked a mile in my shoes and knows what they're facing and has felt the, like, just bone-splitting headaches that I get sometimes, or the seizures, or the inability to speak, or the moments where I'm looking at my husband's face and I can't think of his name.
Maynard found out this spring she has the most lethal form of brain cancer and says doctors told her she may only have 6 months to live. Her medication has drastically changed her appearance, but she's decided to forego aggressive treatment and die, as she puts it, with dignity.
Do you ever just feel like, angry?
I have at points. I have less of that now. It's mostly sadness.
Is it sadness of just everything you'll miss? Is that, or is it specific things?
Yeah, it's mostly, I'd say most of my sadness centers around how much I wanted a family. And it feels like, for me, that was always like how you created a legacy, was like through your children. And sort of inadvertently, through sharing my story, I've realized there's a bit of a legacy I'm creating this way, and I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed to attach my name to what I think is the right that should belong to all terminally ill Americans. I really do.
Under its relentless skies, that big city heights, I felt you walk right through me. You're the thing that I invoke, my old persistent ghost, sent to make me crazy.
And oh, it's hard now. The time it works out.
To be human is to love, even when it gets too much. I'm not ready to give up. To be human is to love, even when it gets too much. I'm not ready to give up. All the tigers have me now. I don't care. I hear them howl. I let them tear right through me. Can you help me not to care? Every breath becomes a prayer. Take this pain from me.
And oh, you're so far now, so far from my arms now.
To be human is to love, even when it gets too much. I'm not ready to give up. To be human is to love, even when it gets too much. I'm not ready to give up. To be human, to be human, to be human.
Just 'cause I predicted this doesn't make it any easier to live with. What's the point of knowing it if you can't change it? You can't change it. Just 'cause I predicted this doesn't make it any easier to live with. What's the point of knowing it if you can't change it? You can't change it.
To be human.